Hi, I'm Tiffany, and today we're going to talk about 3 things you should do to replace a bad habit. I was reading Greg Harden's book, and one of my favorite books, and he talks about this because realize I said replace a bad habit, not get rid of a bad habit, because it's a lot easier to replace it than get rid of it. So the 3 things you should do is 1, be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of the bad habit. 2, laugh at yourself. It's a lot easier to correct something when you're willing to laugh at it instead of being upset and mad at yourself and getting angry and anxious. It's a lot easier when you're willing to go laugh at yourself. And 3, decide what you're gonna do every time it happens. So when I was young, really young, I had a huge bad habit. I would bite my nails, pick at them. I remember going into my dad's bathroom and he would put this nasty nail polish on. So if I bit it, it would like burn my mouth and like I would want to throw up. It was so disgusting. And I remember just gagging multiple times, and because I would bite them, for some reason then it changed things. I still had this nervous thing. Even in high school when I played basketball, I was on defense and I was sitting there and we were in a tough game. I'd still pick at my nails in the middle of a game. It made no sense. But it was almost a nervous thing that I would do. And then I went to college and I said, I gotta stop this. So what I decided to do, I got fake nails. I decided, and I thought about it really hard, and I would go, okay, I figured out what the bad habit was, even though my dad told me in my entire life. I didn't really listen. And then I decided to not be mad at myself, because as I grew up, I'd be frustrated with myself every time I'd do it, even though I did it. And then 3rd, I decided what I was gonna do. I decided I was just gonna get fake nails, because then I didn't have to worry about it. I have no desire to pick at them or bite them when I have fake nails on. For some reason, if I don't, I do. So it's a nervous habit I have that I decided. I realized what I was doing. I realized what was triggering it. 2nd, I decided to not be upset with myself, but laugh at myself a little bit, lighten the mood a little bit when I would do it. And then I really realized what I needed to do to make sure I could make a change, because I wanted to make a change, but it was difficult for me. It was something I had done for years, decades. And so I decided I wanted to make sure that it stopped. So I decided to always get fake nails. And it's something I've done for a long time now to make sure it never happened again. Daniel, do you have any bad habits that you've used this method on?
Yes, I've used the methods of acknowledging it, being aware of my bad habit, and then laughing about it or acknowledging it that way, and then deciding what to do to replace it. And I appreciate it when friends or loved ones or family members have pointed out shortcomings or bad habits, because they can look and see things that I don't see myself. And I appreciate that, because then they can give me some suggestions on how I can improve myself. And it's great, because if you're never corrected or you're never given suggestions, sometimes you don't know where you can change in your life and how to improve. And so in one case, a friend of mine pointed out some bad English grammar. And it's one of my pet peeves of when people speak incorrectly. English is a very challenging language, very difficult. But very common mistake that people say is they say, my friend and I, they say, me and my friend went to the park. Me and my friend went to the movies. And it's supposed to be my friend and I. My friend and I went to the park. My friend and I went to the movie. You don't say me went to the park, me went to the restaurant. You say I went to the restaurant. So it's always my friend and I, right? My friend and I went to the restaurant. But people don't say that. They say me. And it happens all the time. And if you're very conscious of it or aware of it, you'll notice people all over on social media and otherwise on all mediums, when they speak incorrectly, you'll notice it. So somebody corrected me. They pointed out and said, hey, it's not me and my friend, it's my friend and I. So then every time I heard it, if I heard myself say it, I would acknowledge it and be aware of it. And so I'm like, oh, I became aware of it. And then I laughed at it and there I go again. I'm doing the same issue. And then I replaced it with the proper way that I wanted to do, the more effective way of speaking, which is my friend and I. And so, yes, it's a very effective way to change a bad habit. And don't be afraid to correct your friends and loved ones. I mean, that's kind of why we're out here, on earth, to lift up, we learn from each other, we grow from each other. And sometimes, you don't love them unless you're willing to show them, to say, hey, you know what? there's something that you could do differently in this situation, or this might be a more effective way, or you might want to consider this might be a more effective way to handle this situation or this relationship or this type of challenge you're facing.
100%. And it's important to realize that, we all have things that aren't the best, and we can replace it with something better. I think sometimes when we talk about just getting rid of bad habits, it's kind of an overwhelming thing because it's like, just get rid of this one thing in our life. But if we replace it or change it, then it becomes something part of our lives. It becomes something that we want to make better.
It's overcoming the challenge or the weakness and replacing some things that are weak and then acknowledging it and then becoming better. It's improving. It's growth. A very famous podcast, Rob Dyrdek, okay?
Oh, yes.
He has a mindset, a thing about becoming the best version of yourself. And I couldn't agree more with his thoughts on that, in the sense of you just want to become the best version of yourself. Well, hey, is it the best version of yourself to say, me went to the park and me went and did this? It's like, no, like, speak correctly, speak proper. It's a better version to speak in a better way where people aren't questioning and looking at you like, what did that guy just say?
Along those lines, Greg Harden also talks about giving 100% of your time to become the best version of yourself. And that's what this is all about, replacing bad habits, creating our best self, and becoming what we want to become.